back. You're watching The Money Show with me, Kavita Thapliyal. Post-retirement time is a tricky time, especially when people are living longer. Nowadays, the post-retirement people are living for almost 2 to 3 decades and even more if follow a very healthy lifestyle. Health conditions might vary though. But what's important is the right use of money that's been earned during the lifetime, and that will be put to use during this period. Now, how can one ensure that their investments keep making money for themselves? What are the career alternatives one can look at to ensure that this phase of their life is taken care of? So let's dive deep in this conversation with Arnav Pandya, founder moneyeduschool, and Dr. Pratibha Jain, MD, Eduabroad Consulting India. Good evening and welcome to the show. So Arnav, post-retirement life, a very crucial time and also a time where one needs to figure out the rest of the time, especially if they don't have any particular regular income. This is the time when you actually dip into your investments that you have done all your working life. So especially talking about someone who is retiring post 60 and has planned a typical kind of a lifestyle where there is no regular income. Basic fundamentals of retirement planning would be that you have the right kind of investments done already when you were working, plan for your retirement and plan it early, etc. But then when you're already retired, what kind of modifications and changes one needs to do in their investment portfolio, say if one has a completely equity oriented and a bit of debt oriented portfolio?
Good evening, Kavita. So whenever we think of retirement planning, the focus of most people is on the accumulation of wealth till the time of retirement. But it's very important to look at the next phase, which is the distribution part, wherein the amount which has been accumulated, you are going to use it over the next 2 or 3 decades after retirement. So if you have a largely equity portfolio which is there with a small mixture of debt before retirement, you need to convert a part of it into various other assets which are in tune with what your requirements are. So let us now look at what is the main requirement of a person who has retired. One is a regular cash flow which comes in, which meets the various expenses which are there. And then there should be a corpus which is good enough so that it lasts for the entire lifetime. So the idea should be that there should be a part of the corpus which gives you a regular rate of return, and there is also an element within the portfolio which is able to ensure that there is some growth available so that the money doesn't run out before the requirements run out. So that is very crucial, and which is why once you are retired, there is going to be a significant part which is going to be in debt. But at the same time, there has to be an equity component. You might even look at various other options which are now available in the form of REITs or even gold as a mixture, as a part of an overall portfolio mix.
What can one actually do to calculate the expenses post-retirement? Because this structure also changes and so your budgeting would also change, Arnav?
Definitely, because see, when you are looking at your expenses before retirement, there are a part of your total expenses will be related to work, because it could look at things like conveyance or eating out. Out, when I say, it's not the outing with the family, but when you are at work, maybe you have to spend some amounts to eat while you are at work. So these kind of expenses, conveyance, traveling, all those things related to work, those will not be there. But at the same time, as you grow older, two expenses which are very significant. One is related to medical expenses, medical costs which are there. And the second is related to running your households and what actually constitutes there, because various food items and other things, those two become primary parts of your budget, and that needs focus. So you need to ensure and check as to what your new budgeting amount is and how much do you require as terms of a regular payout or a regular cash flow, and then decide as to how you're going to structure your portfolio.
Pratibha, coming to you, can one really have a career post-retirement?
Oh yes, today careers, retirement is actually second innings.
Okay.
And I can speak, I'm also plus 60. And I think the second innings is much better than the first innings, because one is free from a lot of compulsions and freedom of financials, especially if you've invested well. And I see so many people doing wonderful things with their retirement. One, we have skills which are extremely valued. We have problem solving, managing challenges of every kind, diversity of people. And this is valued by, you can be an entrepreneur, and startups are valuing the wisdom that senior citizens or professionals with experience bring to the table. So there is a good mix of young people who are, energized to do new things, and the wisdom, the anchor that a experienced person brings. So both the startup culture is huge, self entrepreneurship, strategy and consulting has become again a very big role where you can design your timings. You're not fixed to an 8-hour day, 10-hour day. You can be a consultant. And many organizations value again the ability to think of the future and plan for pitfalls. Sometimes people on the job are not able to visualize what could go wrong. And that is one huge area. And I think training and education. Government of India, the new NEP policy allows professionals with experience to be now full-time lecturers. So that is, I think, a huge value add to the education workforce, where profession and experience, imagine bringing them into the classroom, mentoring young people, especially finance and the professional programs brings huge value add. And many senior retirees are actually now learning. They become learners and expanding into areas they always wanted to do. So I have a neurosurgeon who's actually doing learning music, and he's become a DJ production because in his growing up years, he didn't have time to follow his passion. So consulting, working, entering into a completely new area. And another very big value add has been heading or channelizing a large funds which need experience and wisdom. I know a lot of people, the India Development Foundation, the Roti Bank Foundation, Teach for India Fellowship. A lot of these large ticket philanthropic organizations are also, it's not that I'm doing a favor, they're actually welcoming professionals who have retired, because you bring a sense of integrity, a certain sense of stretching every resource, which is part of the DNA of a senior manager.
What about,
and those skills are valued.
right. So, but then Pratibha, experience is there, definitely, okay. But what about the money?
Oh, they're well paid. Today, a consultant can be paid for his experience. These are paid positions. These are not philanthropic positions. And they are paid depending on the experience. And obviously, if I want to be part of welfare organizations, I may not want a corporate salary, but they are paid decent wages for the wisdom they bring to the table. Now, nobody is looking at, oh, I could be a philanthropist. That is definitely an option. But many organizations are today valuing the only freedom is I'm not bound to a desk. I'm not bound to an 8-hour, 10-hour job. The professional can decide the work hours he wants to do and accordingly charge the company.
So now, talking about the concept of retirement, Arnav, that is also changing. People are also interested in having early retirement. Now also, the example Pratibha also gave, that one of the gentlemen is actually pursuing his passion and then maybe trying to monetize it professionally, and is already taken retirement from what he used to do earlier. How can one strategize this aspect of the retirement career, where you are also investing in maybe your hobbies or something that you always wanted to do in your working life and you couldn't find time? You're investing in that, and at the same time you want to monetize it later on. How can one strategize this? Because there is money again going into something that you might look at it as an investment, but then not necessary that it might result out in the way you want it to be in terms of investments and profits.
So this is a part which one has to do slightly before retirement, because what happens is that when you are planning your retirement finances, apart from the factor that you need a corpus which will ensure that there is income and money for you when you need it, a part of that also has to be directed towards these kind of activities where you might need to invest, because after retirement you might do different kinds of things. If it's just a simple uh, activity where you are either consulting or doing something with some other form which doesn't require an investment, that is one part of it. But wherever there is some sort of entrepreneurial activity or it requires some investment into some assets, that will require a certain planning, because your overall corpus needs to factor this point in, because it is going to be an extra amount which you need to have planned for, because you can't use these kind of amounts from your corpus which you had thought that this is the amount which I'm going to use for my retirement income, and then start taking away chunks of it for different uses. So if you have done this kind of planning, then there is no problem whatsoever, because you know exactly how much is available with you, how much you can put in, and that becomes a very smooth affair for you to manage.
Pratibha, how can one look at early retirement? Pratibha?
Early retirement is actually now planned. I know many people.
Exactly, definitely. It should be, if even if it is not, it should definitely be planned.
And it is more when people want more than one passion, or have, especially I've seen filmmaking, music, even art, designing. People then look at travel as I have, a finance investment banker who's now well taken care of, and now he's becoming a chef, he's learning culinary arts, and is actually not just, he's running a cloud kitchen. So it's not that I'm doing a time pass passion. Early retirement is then planned, that look, after 45, this is the next second innings of my profession, where I'm a little free from financial anxieties, my family is taken care of, or my needs are taken care of, and I can follow my heart, I can follow my passion. And more than ever before today, people are saying, I don't need to give up. I may love two things. Why should I give up one for the other? I could be as passionate an investment banker and as passionate a musician or a filmmaker.
Right.
So that is now the reason for people want to travel, people want to see the world, people want to learn new things. Again, learning has become a huge area of endless, limitless, boundaryless learning. So people are now actually thinking that, look, let me make the most of my intellect and living life, and not just be tied to one career.
Post-retirement life actually can be, or the way Pratibha is also putting it down, your second inning can be way better than your first inning also. Definitely, one needs to plan it really well. Thank you so much, Pratibha and Arnav, for being on the show and helping our viewers with this today. We slip into a short break, but then post that, we will talk about your financial portfolio and get your mutual fund related queries answered after this break.